Have you ever felt like the universe was testing your patience, right before revealing your true power? Because sometimes, the most humiliating moment of your life is actually the beginning of your greatest transformation. Before we begin this powerful story, I want to share something that's been quietly changing lives, and could change yours. The 369 manifestation codes are not just a trend, they're a tool. A powerful system designed to help you align your thoughts, energy, and frequency with what you truly desire. Thousands have already used these codes to manifest success, wealth, respect, and even healing. If you're ready to stop being overlooked and start being unstoppable, click the link in the description and unlock your potential today. Now, let's get into this story. And trust me, you won't believe how it ends. The lobby was flawless. Grand ceiling stretched above crystal chandeliers that sparkled like stars. Gold-accented marble gleamed under perfectly polished shoes. Behind the dark, glossy reception counter stood two hotel clerks in crisp navy uniforms, murmuring to each other. When the front doors opened, they looked up, just for a second. A woman stepped inside. Alone. Quiet. Her movements were calm, but deliberate. She wore a light blue jacket, a simple matching cap, and clean but modest clothing. No luxury handbag. No bold jewelry. Just a small roller bag and a black backpack slung over one shoulder. She paused. Took in the room. Then walked slowly to the counter. Neither clerk moved to greet her. After a moment of silence, the younger of the two raised her chin and asked, "Can I help you?" "Yes," the woman replied. "I have a reservation." Maya Thompson. The receptionist tapped on her keyboard, brow furrowing slightly. "I'm sorry. I don't see anything under that name." The other clerk leaned closer, glancing at the screen. "What's the confirmation number?" Maya opened her phone. "I believe I saved it here." Before she could find it, the first receptionist cut her off. "Ma'am, I'll need you to step aside. We have other guests to assist." There was no line behind her. Just a few scattered guests in the lounge. Maya looked around. Calm. Focused. "I'd prefer to resolve this now," she said. "I'm expected." The second clerk folded her arms. "We've had people pretend to be elite guests before. Without immediate verification, you'll need to leave the counter." Maya remained still. "Would you like to see my ID?" "We'll let security handle it," the first one said sharply. From the side hallway, a tall security guard appeared, walking toward them. "She's refusing to cooperate," one of the clerks said. "I'm not refusing anything," Maya replied. "I'm checking in." The guard approached, professional but firm. "Do you have identification?" Instead of answering, Maya calmly opened an app on her phone and held up her digital ID. The guard leaned in. His face changed. "Ms. Thompson?" he asked. Both receptionists turned. Maya nodded. "Yes." The security guard stepped back slightly. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize." Maya interrupted softly. "Clearly." The younger receptionist blinked. "Wait, you're the Maya Thompson?" "Yes. The founder of this hotel chain." Everything stopped. Neither of the clerks spoke. Maya looked at them both. Not angry. Just tired. "I came here tonight unannounced. Not for special treatment, but to see how this hotel treats its guests when no one is watching." She let the silence linger. "And now?" "I know." She picked up her suitcase. Turned toward the door. "I won't be staying tonight," she added. "But we'll be speaking again. Very soon." As she walked out, heads turned. Phones rose silently into the air. The damage was done. And the fallout hadn't even begun. The video hit social media less than 3 hours after Maya left the hotel. It wasn't recorded by her. She hadn't posted anything. But someone in the lounge had filmed the entire exchange, and when they realized who the woman was, Maya Thompson, founder and CEO of Thompson Elite Resorts, the clip spread like wildfire. Within 24 hours, it had over 6 million views. The comments were a storm of disbelief and outrage. She built that hotel and they treated her like nothing? Imagine telling the owner to leave. Unreal. Security? For her. These people need to be fired. Maya didn't say a word publicly. Not yet. She didn't need to. Her silence spoke louder than any post. At corporate headquarters, the executive team was in panic mode. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. PR teams scrambled to prepare a statement. But none of that mattered, not until they spoke to the woman at the center of it all. Maya walked into the boardroom the next morning, early, composed, and carrying a single manila folder. No anger on her face. Just clarity. The room fell silent as she sat at the head of the table. "I assume you've all seen the video," she began. No one spoke. Heads nodded. "What you saw was not just a mistake," Maya continued. "It was a symptom. A reflection of something deeper. Something we've ignored for too long." One executive tried to respond. "It was an isolated incident. We've already suspended the employees involved." "This isn't about 2 employees," Maya cut in. "This is about our culture. Our training. Our assumptions. This happened to me. But how many others has it happened to, quietly, without a phone camera?" No one had an answer. Maya opened the folder and slid several documents across the table. "These are internal complaints filed by staff and guests in the last 18 months. Incidents of bias. Discrimination. Subtle disrespect. Most were dismissed or resolved internally. I read them all last night. And I see a pattern." She paused, looking at each face in the room. "We pride ourselves on luxury. On excellence. But what good is elegance if it's built on exclusion?" Maya leaned back in her chair. "This is not just a PR issue. This is a leadership issue. And I intend to lead." Silence again. But not the awkward kind. The kind that signals something big is about to happen. And it was. Later that week, Maya launched a company-wide review of every front-facing department in the hotel chain. Guest services, management, hiring practices, staff evaluations, all under the microscope. Every employee, from janitorial to general manager, was required to complete a mandatory training program on unconscious bias, inclusive service, and professional accountability. But she didn't stop there. Maya established a new internal division, the Guest Equity and Experience Department, reporting directly to her. Its mission, to investigate guest complaints with neutrality and speed. Not to protect the brand, but to protect the people. Employees were nervous. Some skeptical. Others relieved. Behind closed doors, some whispered that Maya was going too far. But those whispers faded quickly, when they saw what came next. Because while Maya handled the company's internal shift with precision, someone else was preparing to take advantage of the scandal. A former employee, dismissed over a discrimination claim years ago, surfaced with new allegations. A journalist began investigating Maya's past, searching for contradictions, secrets, anything to challenge her integrity. A hotel competitor's PR team launched subtle online campaigns, painting Thompson Elite Resorts as outdated, elitist, and insincere. Maya knew the world wouldn't change just because she was doing the right thing. So she prepared for what she always had, resistance. She brought in community leaders, diversity experts, and hotel industry veterans for a public roundtable, live-streamed globally, addressing bias in luxury spaces. She faced the media directly. Not with statements, but with stories. Not with apologies, but with solutions. And everywhere she went, people listened. Because Maya wasn't seeking revenge in the traditional sense. She wasn't trying to humiliate anyone. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't firing blindly. She was doing something far more powerful. She was rebuilding the system that had once tried to silence her, and this time, on her terms. But there was still one piece left. One conversation that hadn't happened yet. The two receptionists who had dismissed her. They hadn't reached out. No apology. No message. Nothing. Maya hadn't forgotten. And soon, she would see them again. They were waiting for her. The same lobby. The same chandeliers. But the energy was entirely different now. The once indifferent glances had been replaced by nervous stares. Whispers floated through the air like static. Staff straightened their posture the moment she entered. Some offered hesitant smiles. Others stepped aside, unsure of what to say. Maya Thompson walked in with the quiet poise of someone who'd already won, not the battle, but the long, exhausting war of being underestimated. She didn't need an announcement. She didn't need security. And she certainly didn't need permission. This time, she wasn't wearing the same light blue jacket. She wore black, sharp, tailored, and unmistakably authoritative. Her presence no longer invited doubt. It demanded respect. At the reception desk, the two young women stood side by side. Claire and Jordan. Their uniforms were pressed, but their faces were pale. They'd been asked to return for a final conversation. Neither of them knew what that really meant. Maya approached slowly. No entourage. No assistant. Just her. She stopped a few feet from the desk. Looked at both of them. No anger. No hatred. Just silence. Claire cleared her throat first. Ms. Thompson. Maya raised one hand gently. Let me speak first. Claire swallowed hard. Jordan lowered her eyes. You both know who I am now, Maya said. But on the night we met, that didn't matter to you. Jordan spoke softly. We didn't mean to. You did mean to, Maya interrupted. Maybe not in words. But in attitude. In assumption. In dismissal. You looked at me and made a decision, that I wasn't worth your time. That I didn't belong. Claire's voice cracked. We were just following protocol. No, Maya said, still calm. You were following bias. And it wasn't the first time, was it? Claire froze. Jordan glanced at her, then back at Maya. I have guessed reports, Maya continued. From this very location. Complaints about being ignored, about being questioned more harshly than others. And many of those complaints came from people who looked like me. She let that settle. I created this hotel brand because I believed luxury should be welcoming, not exclusive. Beautiful, but not blind. And yet, here we are. Claire's voice dropped to a whisper. We're sorry. I believe you, Maya said. But apologies don't undo harm. They begin accountability. And that's why you're here. The two women stood still, unsure what would happen next. I could have fired you both immediately, Maya said. And believe me, no one would have questioned it. But punishment without purpose is just power flexed. I'm more interested in transformation. She reached into her coat and pulled out 2 documents. These are invitations, she said. To a 6-month paid training and community immersion program, created by Thompson Elite and run by external leaders. You'll learn about service, empathy, and identity. You'll meet people from communities you've never stepped into. You'll listen. And you'll reflect. Jordan looked stunned. You're giving us another chance? I'm giving you a choice, Maya replied. You can take the program and return to the company with a new role and a new standard. Or you can walk away now. Claire blinked. Why would you do this? After everything. Maya looked them both in the eye. Because if we keep removing people for being ignorant, we'll never have space to teach them to be better. Growth doesn't come from shame. It comes from truth. For the first time, the lobby felt still for the right reason. Claire slowly reached for the paper. Jordan followed. Neither of them said a word. But something in their posture shifted. Not from fear. But from understanding. Maya stepped back, nodded once, and turned away. As she walked through the lobby, staff members straightened up. Guests watched in awe. And Maya? She didn't look back. Outside, the car door opened. Her assistant, waiting inside, asked, "How did it go?" Maya smiled softly. Better than they expected. Exactly as I intended. The door closed behind her. The car pulled off into the quiet evening. Her story had already gone viral. But her real legacy wouldn't be in headlines. It would be in every guest who walked into her hotels and finally felt like they belonged. Because of one moment. One voice. And one woman who refused to let silence win.